So I got to Bordeaux by bus. Nothing so glamorous. Just turned up, got off, found my way to where I was staying, dropped my bag, checked in, and almost straight away ended up chatting to this guy for an hour. He was also staying in the same place as me. Turned out he was British as well, from England, just passing through, same as me. We had one of those very temporary travel conversations where you talk like you've known each other for years, even though you definitely haven't. We were swapping stories, places we had been to, places we were heading to. He was off to Barcelona, I was off to Paris. Opposite directions. But it turned out we were more or less the same age, so we bonded quite well. Basically crossing paths for one night only, having a chat, then disappearing back into our separate trips, which is basically a run-of-the-mill travel thing, but still a bit strange when you think about it. Anyway, the conversation died down. He went to the bathroom, I got my things together and headed out to never see each other ever again. After that, like I say, I headed to the station, walked there. Wasn't such a long distance away, it was maybe 15 minutes. A relatively pleasant little stroll there. It was Sunday afternoon. The sun was going to go down in the next couple of hours, so I had to get some filming under my belt as I was heading to Paris very, very early the next morning. It wasn't dead. People were around, at the station at least, not on the way there. You had people waiting for trams. There was a bit of movement, a bit of noise. Nothing manic though. But it was cold. The further north I went, the colder it was becoming. A cold snap, we would call it. The kind of cold where you're fine until you stop moving. Then your hands start to remind you that filming might have been a bad idea. Still, it felt like a good time to start walking, get some fresh air, stretch my legs after a little journey on the bus. No real plan beyond filming and finding all the nice places in town to get a shot of. So the general idea was to go to the station and then find the river and walk along the river. So that's what I did. So leaving this train station, I decided to head towards the river. I got a little bit lost, found some kind of abandoned buildings that still look quite nice, funny enough. And then I saw the river. Between it and me was this busy road, which I traversed without dying. And the first thing I found was a little sports area near Saint-Michel, apparently. Straight away, loads going on, people running, proper running, not just jogging 10 meters and stopping, basketball, beach volleyball, people using outdoor gym equipment. It was freezing outside and people were dressed like it was summer, which already felt kind of unhinged because it was freezing outside, like genuinely cold, hands cold, face cold, wind cutting through, and everyone's out there exercising like it's spring. So I thought I'd make a quick stop here. I've just gone past Pont de Pierre, Stone Bridge, and I think I'm at Miroir de l'Eau, plus la Bourse. I think it's somewhere around here. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty chilly. My hands are red, but I thought I'd give you my first kind of impressions of Bordeaux. I've been here before. I think I've been here maybe 4 or 5 times when I was younger, from probably the ages of 12 to 18, 19 or something. I came here a few times. To be honest, I don't remember the place all too well. I kind of remember going to some bars with my cousin who lives here. But so far, really beautiful in terms of the buildings. I quite like the architecture of the buildings. But it feels a little bit rough, if I'm being honest. Lots of different areas that I've gone past have felt like there are some sketchy people around, which just made me feel a bit like surprised and not uncomfortable. But especially if I'm filming, walking past them or something like that, I feel like I'd get some questions potentially, or definitely strange looks, but maybe some possible aggression. So that's something I've been surprised about to begin with. Maybe things will change when I go to different areas and check them out. And the final point, and again it might be area specific, but everyone seems to be doing sport. Well, not everyone, but lots of people doing sport. It's freaking freezing out here. It's maybe like 1 or 2 degrees, I'm not sure. But there are people playing volleyball, beach volleyball, working out, skating, skateboarding, playing table tennis, playing basketball, playing football, loads of people jogging, cycling. It's mad. But anyway, I'm getting cold, let's get back to it. So the river, it carried on for a long bit, so I didn't cover it all. Past the sports area, however, things open up a little bit. You get a better view of the river. You get more space, more air, a lot more wind. It was definitely even colder down here the further I went. Actually, this place right behind me is Place de la Bourse. Sorry. The kind of cold where your fingers start going numb while you're holding the camera and you begin questioning life choices somewhat. Why am I out here filming now in a rush before the sun sets? Do I really need to do this? Yes. Still, it was worth it. It was a nice stretch to walk. The river makes it feel calmer straight away, even though there's still plenty going on around you. All those damn joggers. The buildings along this part on the other side of the road stood out. Maybe not Paris flashy, but beautiful nonetheless. Even the older ones, the worn looking ones, still had something about them. Typical French architecture. Then I got to the bridge, Pont Saint-Pierre. I walked out about halfway across, maybe a bit less than that, and stopped, took it in, then headed back. It was alright. But you definitely get a good sense of the scale from there. River, city, everything spread out. It's a proper bridge, old, heavy, solid. Not as impressive as one of the bridges from Girona in terms of its beauty, but it's a bridge. Does exactly what it's supposed to do. And maybe I'd have to say after that part, I started to feel like I was coming into the city that I remembered it being from my first few trips there 15, 20 years ago. Not in a dramatic way at first, but about 5-10 minutes later when I got to Miroir d'Eau. But things begin to change. I'm heading to Place de la Bourse. Wow, impressive. Things are getting better. My impressions are reshaping themselves. Everything's coming closer together and you don't feel like you're heading somewhere specific so much as moving through it from here on in. Big open space, river just behind, buildings laid out neatly in front of you. You don't really need to stop and take it in. It kind of hits you anyway. What's funny is that I walked straight past Miroir d'Eau without fully realizing that I was. I knew it was around somewhere, but I didn't clock it at the time as I filmed my little mid-walk reflection. Just got carried away, but it was just behind us. From there, I headed further into the centre, moving through Place du Parlement and then Place Saint-Pierre. This whole part of the walk just flows. One square opens into another. Cafes start appearing everywhere. People sitting around, even though it's bitterly cold, like they've got nowhere else to be. It's busy, but not in a stressful way. More like background noise than anything else. The streets tighten up again as well, which changes the feel completely. Go from open space back into narrower streets, and everything feels older, closer together. Then you get to the Grosse Cloche. It sort of arrives without warning. You turn a corner and it's just there, bang. Big, heavy, impossible to miss bell. I didn't hang around for too long, though I liked it. It was bitterly cold and the sun was going down. just enough to take it in, then carry on walking. By this point, the walk felt very different than how it started, not because of anything specific I'd done, just because of where I'd ended up. And then after the Grosse Cloche, I turned and carried on a bit further into the centre. From there, it's a short walk to Place Pays-Berlin, and everything around here just feels bigger again. More open space, more light, and a lot of stone. The cathedral dominates the area without making a fuss about it. It's just there doing what it's always done. Wow, impressive. Same with the Hôtel de Ville nearby. Solid, serious, not over the top, but a proper hotel. By this point, it felt like I'd hit the last run of major landmarks. At least, fingers crossed, I had, and I didn't miss anything I shouldn't have. And after that, I didn't really feel much more. The sun was going down on the trip. On the day, I started drifting back towards the river instead, and the walk slowed down naturally. Looking back on it all at that point, it was pretty clear how much the walk had changed from start to finish. The area near the station and the sports park felt rougher, busier, more practical. But the further I walked, the more everything softened. Wider streets, grander buildings, and calmer atmosphere. It didn't feel like a sudden switch, just a gradual improvement, step by step, crossing the road. By the time I got back to the river, it felt like a good place to stop. Everything had settled. The pace, the noise, the walk itself, it was quieter. It was colder. I was thirstier. Later on, I ended up in an English pub. Well, 5 minutes after this, to watch the football. I ordered a beer in French, asked the barman for a recommendation, and he replied in French without missing a beat. Perfectly natural. Then, after he had served me, he turned to his mate further down the bar from me, started chatting away in English, like a native. So when he came back with my change, I said something like, "Oh, you're English, are you?" He laughed, he said yeah, and I told him his French was really good. He was sound, friendly, easygoing, managing his pub very well. It felt like a very fitting end to the day. So it takes us to the end of the video. I'm done freezing my fingers off. I'm back at the Pont de Pierre, the stone bridge. Hope you enjoyed the video in Bordeaux. Like, subscribe, comment as well, always appreciated. See ya in the next one.
Pensando em você na madrugada eu vou traficar. Mente criminosa, vida louca, eu sou um gangsta. Pensando em você na madrugada eu vou traficar.